It is March 11th, 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Justin LaBar. Look, there's a lot to talk about tonight, obviously, with AEW Dynamite and NXT on the USA Network. But the top story on everyone's mind is coronavirus and the actions that are being taken. The speculation that as soon as tomorrow morning, WrestleMania could be altered, postponed. I don't think canceled outright. But the NBA, right before we went on the air, announced that they have suspended the rest of their season after a player tested positive. People were being quarantined. President Trump went on the air tonight with a national address talking about steps and measures that are being taken to stop the outbreak and slow the spread of COVID-19 coronavirus. So we're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about NXT. But I think first and foremost, all the tweets that I'm getting, I'm sure you guys as well, are about WrestleMania and people that are concerned. Now, Matt, you're in Florida where there's something like 30 cases. I know as the mayor of a city, you have an additional concern about the vigilance to stop the spread or slow the spread of this. It seems very realistic tomorrow that Tampa might pump the brakes on Mania. Vince McMahon and WWE doesn't want to. I mean, was this even fathomable to you even a week ago, even Monday when we were talking about it?
No, it's one of those deals in which we were talking before we went on air that you hope that this is just media overblowing something or somebody, but it's not. And man, it's a scary time not to make it sound worse to anybody watching this, right? And we're going to get to the show because we want to get your minds off this crap as well and do what we can to entertain you guys, and we will. But we also know a lot of you guys are asking these questions, so I thought it was pretty cool, Glenn, to want to lead the show off with this because that's all we were talking about. We didn't even talk about wrestling because we know that most of you guys are probably thinking the same thing. So,
yeah. I mean, Justin, I think we've even said in the past an act of God will not move Vince McMahon's hand. But in this case, the U.S. government or the state government might be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually go back, there's a chronological DVD of the WWE put out years ago about WrestleMania, and one of the concerns was, when it's outside, what if it rains? And there's a quote, I forget who relayed the quote, but there's a famous quote that Vince has of, "It's WrestleMania, it's not going to rain," and that's just on the instance of worrying about rain, So I can't imagine what he's feeling. I mean, this will be this 36th rendition of what has made him his fortune, what he built from the ground up. I can't imagine how frustrated it is for him to be if he gets told by the government, you can't do this for the sake of humanity. You cannot do this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's postponed to a later time in Tampa. It's hard to say when you postpone it to because you don't know the timeline. So, as Matt said, we're going to get to these shows. But what I find interesting, Monday Night Raw this Monday is here in Pittsburgh. I was going to be at this Raw. It's one of the biggest Raws we've had with The Undertaker doing a contract signing for his WrestleMania match with Stone Cold to celebrate 316 Day and who knows what else. But if they come out tomorrow on Thursday and say this show is not, even if they say the show is postponed, but it's not going to happen until at least June.
I will drive, not fly, to Pittsburgh, and I will lock you in your home from going to that arena. What are you thinking?
Depending on what happens, I might still be going. So I don't know. But point is, I'm trying to think, what does WWE do? Like, if they don't know when does WWE have to WWE suspend events? Do they suspend events?
Here's the thing you're not taking into account. WrestleMania's biggest portion of that payday is not American paying fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
No.
It's that foreign market. And with, them putting on a travel ban to Europe.
Yeah. From Europe.
Does WWE suspend? Do they do the same thing and say we don't need to have arena full of fans, and if we don't even have pay-per-views to build to? Like, does WWE say
we're see them still doing their televised shows to be the sport that still steps up and does something like they did after 9/11? Because here's the deal: it'd be in empty arenas, But here's my next question: can they afford that expense? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, and plus, there's a nobility to what you're saying, Matt, but this pro wrestling thrives off of sound and emotion. It's one thing to have a novelty gimmick match of Rock and Mankind empty arena, or we've seen it a few one-offs. To try to put together full shows of emotion with empty arena. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to put the crew? Are you going to put at the risk? Are you going to get the crew sick? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Do you suspend? What do you mean? What do you do things out of the performance center like we saw from NXT tonight?
I don't have the answer to that. I'm just telling you, I know how that guy thinks and the company thinks generally. And they'll try everything in their power to figure something out, not just sending their own talent home for 3 months.
Yeah. I would actually argue that there's a silver lining for WWE Weekly TV that they could actually do some really good programming if they didn't have to work within the constraints of the live arena. They could do more stuff like the backlot brawl. They could do more backstage segments. Hell, they could get all of the talent for the next 3 weeks and say, you know what, guys, let's shoot this like TV. Let's just spend 3 weeks shooting 3 months worth of episodes and go home and be with your family and isolate during this. Creatively, I don't think it's an issue, but for WrestleMania in particular, given the live draw that is, I mean, we're talking it's a Super Bowl size cash infusion.
And this sucks. I spent half the day dealing with and what was ultimately productivity and good news for our event. It's supposed to be in Tampa on April 3rd, which might not happen now. We'll find out tomorrow. But I mean, that's a very small thing, obviously. But a trickle down effect. Like then, if WrestleMania is gone, then all the WrestleCon, all the events, and all the money that comes. I mean, this is I don't know. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting to see what comes out of it.
I mean, I'll tell you now. Granted, I can't divulge the client, but my advertising agency, we had just launched a major campaign with a travel-related advertiser, and we had to pull all the ads yesterday. I've never seen force majeure come into a situation with my business, an act of God. But this is going to affect a lot of industries and live events. First and foremost, Coachella was postponed. I mean, we're seeing events being canceled left and right. I feel that it's almost irresponsible for the WWE to try and soldier on or have defiance with this. And let me say, look, we've been talking about our meetup in Tampa, Justin. I want to go and spend time with the fans no matter what, but let me just tell you, forget my safety. I'm in a county right now that has 3 confirmed cases. They won't tell us which city. They were all community transmitted cases. I would have to get on an airport shuttle with people from my community, go to the San Francisco airport where there are a couple dozen cases, sit with her, get on a plane with people. I don't want to put anyone at risk. Forget my safety, and that's what it comes down to. This isn't just about not catching something; it's about not spreading it, and that's where
I'm going to the belly of the beast here in Florida, as far as Tampa goes. Like that's where all over.
And I'm not Matt was joking about Matt was I'm going to go to Raw this Monday. I'm not as shocked yet because I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm in Allegheny County in Western PA. So far, there's no cases here. The closest cases here are Cleveland, which is 3 hours away, and then 4 hours on the eastern side of PA. So I still feel safe, but I know it's probably just a matter of time until they start popping up. It's inevitable. But
yeah, they sent the National Guard into a city in upstate New York where an outbreak is happening.
New Rochelle. Yeah.
I mean, Matt, could you imagine as the mayor of a town, the National Guard is coming to your city because of an outbreak? I mean, that's just a nightmare. So I think whatever drastic measures need to be taken right now will be nothing compared to if we just wait on this, let it get worse. And that's where I think it's biblical proportions if we ignore this. So I don't know, call me a cook, call me a liberal, whatever. It's like I want to err on the side of caution. I've read so much about this, and there seems to be a real consensus about the threat that's posed. That being said, it is going to affect professional wrestling. I mean, there's no way it can't. But Matt, 2 years ago, the WWE had an outbreak of mumps. Like, when's the last time you heard about somebody getting the mumps? And the WWE, it went through the locker room. So to your point, I mean, they have an obligation to protect the talent. They have an obligation to protect the fans.
Yeah, they do.
Well, let me ask you this: if somehow they don't cancel Mania, if they say something like, we will refund anybody who wants to refund tickets, but we will accept anybody who does want to still come within the United States, because I know there's the whole European thing that Trump said tonight. Would you still come if they say you're allowed to?
Get a freaking hazmat suit, and I'll just soldier through it.
Do the chat about that again, because this is moving quickly.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I said a week or two ago, I could see maybe something. Everyone's like, oh no, that's crazy. Like, I feel bad for even putting the idea out there. But as Matt said, this is moving so fast. It's changing so quick. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen and what the impact is going to be. But that being said, just a hell of a distraction from professional wrestling tonight, perhaps rightfully so. I think we've covered just about everything with this. Everything that could be said.
Let's talk about something positive.
Well, AEW tonight, Dynamite from the Maverick Center in West Valley City, Utah. Opening with Cody actually we opened with Hangman Page talking to Tony Schiavone about who his partner was going to be for a tag team match later in the evening. Then we had a match with Cody versus Ortiz. The real headline of this match, Cody won via submission. It was a good match with some good back and forth. But after that, with the cheap shot on Cody, the Inner Circle coming out, and what'd you think of this for a start to the show, Matt?
I just don't. I think they're a good tag team. And I like them. I just don't think I think it's always a given, when they put them in singles action, against AEW's next top baby face, right?
Yeah.
Before it was what's his name, Moxley, and now it's Cody. I don't think anyone when that bell rings is going Well, and Ortiz and whoever's going to win. No one's ever thinking that.
Well, and to me, the headline taken away from this match was Cody's in the ring, and Jake Roberts comes to the crowd and sits front row with who we now know is his new client, Lance Archer. So that was, to me, that was the takeaway of we now know who Jake is representing. So that crosses off one mystery guest as we're waiting to see the others.
Which is really good for Lance. Lance doesn't have to cut his own promos,
Mm-hmm.
And coming off Jake's promo last week, he's white hot right now.
Yes.
So Cody won that via submission afterwards. They were attacking him. And in the backstage, Matt Jackson had been attacked. Or was it Mac? No, was it Nick? Sorry, I apologize. I'm reading this. I was paying attention in addition to everything else that was unfolding. It was Nick put on the stretcher. Matt went with him to the hospital with Cody after the match.
And the spot, it wasn't a spot. It was they obviously just, but the imagery looked good. They had him crushed under one of those garage doors and blood coming out. Yeah. It looked like a scene from a horror movie. It looked pretty.
Yeah, that was well shot.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, between that and the Performance Center beatdown at the end, this was a good night for backstage fights.
Yeah.
We had Bea Priestley teaming with AEW Women's World Champion Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida tonight.
Is it Bea or is it B?
I thought it was Bea. Maybe it's B.
I keep hearing both. That's why I
haven't heard both. I don't know.
Yeah.
This was a good match. These were now I've always, got down on them and said they keep putting women's talent out there more times than not that they've not given us enough time to emotionally invest in. These were two that I'm definitely interested in getting more emotionally invested in. These are two really good talents.
Yeah, it was one of the better women's tag matches that AEW's had. Pretty straightforward, but nothing. It's kind of like less is more. Nothing glaringly bad about it, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And Nyla Rose pinned Bea Priestley for the win.
Didn't like that. Didn't like Bea Priestley losing, but whatever.
She's got a really good look. I think she could.
She looks different.
Really be developed well if they give her a good story.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this anti-Dark Order promo. Christopher Daniels doing a parody of the Dark Order videos. What did you think of this, Matt?
Funny. I thought it was pretty funny.
It was good.
I dug it.
Yeah.
Justin.
Good. Yeah. Good showing of Daniel's comedic side. And I know they throw to it far later when they're promoting what's next week, but I think it's appropriate to state now they promote next week from Rochester, New York.
Wait.
The Dark Order they will present us the Exalted One. So, with Lance Archer being with Jake, I've said it last couple of weeks, Matt Hardy with the Dark Order doesn't make sense. The Dark Order is going to remain heel. Matt's going to be a red hot babyface if and when he shows up there. Rochester makes sense for debuting Brody Lee, who's from that town. So that would seem to be a logical guess now.
And quick correction, Nyla Rose hit Shida with the Beast Bomb on the cover, not Bea Priestley. I apologize. This was at the point where I was watching three things at once tonight between AEW NXT and the President's Address. So was a little more distracted than usual this evening. Let's talk about MJF the Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny and Wardlow via Jurassic Express. And the excessive finisher that MJF put on Marco's stunt, which was just an animated GIF waiting to happen.
He's a heat magnet, man. He's good. He is so good. He's so entertaining. This was good for what it was worth.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but there was a lot of things about it that maybe I was getting nitpicky, but like there was more of some bad ref distraction spots that didn't make sense. I didn't understand, and commentary said it as well, like, right as I was thinking of it, and I was like, is this commentary? Is this Tony and JR like kind of shooting? You have a 6-man tag situation here. Why is Luchasaurus the babyface that you're beating up for all the heat, and you're giving the hot tag to Marco and to Jungle Boy? You have this monster in Luchasaurus. Shouldn't he be the one who's pacing like a caged animal in the apron while Marco and Jungle Boy get their ass kicked? That was kind of baffling to me that they did that. I mean, I don't know. So those are things that, like, as I'm watching it from, I guess, maybe a psychology standpoint, I didn't understand. It was still fun. There were some weird time spots that, they tried to break up a 3 count, and like the ref Aubrey had to like just hold her hand up and wait because they were really behind on time. Again, maybe stuff that the regular fan doesn't notice, but to me, it kind of did take me out of it some. But whatever. That was my biggest problem with this. There was a lot of question marks and putting the match together, how they did it, why they did it. Wardlow's spot of. They did a spot of bunnies up on the apron, Butcher's pushing somebody off the top rope. Meanwhile, Wardlow's running Luchasaurus on the steps. The cameras couldn't catch it all. It just seemed like it wasn't as thought out maybe as it needed to be.
I want to thank Bob the Builder for a $10 Canadian super chat. I won't put it on screen. He wants to know our opinion on coronavirus. I guess he came in late. Listen to the show when it publishes. Go back to the beginning. Bob, we have an extensive amount on it there. Damian Cole with the super chat saying Brody Lee, right? But then what does Matt do? So, yeah, the Exalted One being announced next week.
Is Brody Lee really a leader of a group, though? Come on.
Be an upgrade.
Well, he comes from a
dude. He's bigger than every single one of them. Immediately.
Yeah. But he does, he is, people have recognized him from the Wyatt family. He's been part of Cult world. But Matt makes no sense. You're not going to get.
It has to be either one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of what does Matt do? I mean, I think, you're the question going off the air is, the question going off the air is there going to be enough numbers to face the Inner Circle and Blood and Guts? I think you could potentially have, Matt as a, if it looks like, if it looks like being the Elite, if it looks like the Bucks and Kenny and Cody, if all those guys, if there's one down, if there's one short, and maybe Matt comes into play there. But again, he doesn't make sense at this point for the Dark Order. So
after that win, we got a recap of the main event from last week with Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho beating Darby Allin. We had a cool vignette for Darby Allin showing someone in a body bag wearing a Sammy Guevara mask. Allin had a Jericho mask on. Got in the truck, pulled the body bag around the yard with music playing in the background. Man, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not crazy to think that if they had to go to a pre-taped format,
they could do cool things with it.
They could do amazing things. I mean, it could actually
3 hours, though, for Raw is way too much to be able to do.
Yeah, I know.
I think they'd have to cut to 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it's something, and it would give something different. I agree with you.
I mean, just what Darby does with these vignettes, I just think that it like let's turn lemons into lemonade and do something positive with it creatively. Let's talk about the Britt Baker with Tony Schiavone segment interrupted. She was dissing Utah, and Big Swole coming out.
Yeah, and
Big Swole looks like she's about to get a push.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and I like the shots they took at each other. Britt says, your boyfriend is the only one in your household that people care about. She's referring to Cedric Alexander, who's over on Raw.
NXT.
No, he's on Raw. He's been getting buried on.
Cedric. I'm sorry. I thought you meant she was referring to Adam Cole.
Yeah, and then then Big Swole goes and holds her ring up and goes, "I'm married, baby." And knock at the fact that Adam Cole and Britt are not yet married. So and then this is cool.
That is a little weird to pull in their significant others from WWE programming.
It is. It's not who they are. It's not what makes them up as to who they are either. So I'm not a fan of it either. But that was a good diss. If we're just talking straight disses, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's AEW knows their audience is smart enough to know who these girls are in relationships with. So I feel like it's like no harm, no foul for a one-off. You don't want to make that like the center point of a storyline, but for a one-off diss,
But with Britt, it feels like they've done it a few times now.
Yeah.
She doesn't do herself favors showing up at the shows, but what she's supposed to do, that's her guy. She's supposed to, I tell you what, she watches the backstage. That way it stays out of the way, and then people don't get your own company doesn't rib you and then make you, sit in front row at the following AEW show. I just don't think they need to have any attachment to WWE whatsoever.
Well, especially if they really want to give her a push and make her seem like a big entity. I mean,
big entity by herself. She don't need that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure it would annoy the hell out of your wife, Matt, if all day, every day at work, people were asking her about Matt Morgan. Like, there goes Matt Morgan's wife.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That'd suck. So yeah, I think it is interesting. Hopefully they don't play too much with that, but I think a feud between these two could be great.
Yeah.
Joey Janela and Private Party versus Death Triangle, Pac, Pentagon Jr., and Phoenix.
It was a good match. It was a very good match. I was happy to see Janela back on. But out of the bunch, he like those guys, 5 of the 6 of them are just like freaking 100 miles an hour, lightning quick. They're so quick, and all the stuff these guys are able to do out there. I was entertained by this.
Yeah, good. A necessary win for the Death Triangle, and
yes,
Glenn. I know we all saw it on social media. I'm glad that we see. We have the Inner Circle, we have the Death Triangle, and we do have a referee rhombus. As AEW, somebody tweeted a picture of the referees having fun.
I saw that
doing a rhombus.
What about ours? People are stealing our shit. Excuse my French, but I'm getting sick of this. People are stealing our stuff. First, wash these hands.
Royalty checks. Pot Committed was stolen.
That Glenn Rubenstein thought of.
Well, it's actually, I made a joke. Someone in the chat made a joke. It came from this podcast, but still, pride and ownership. Yeah, the wash these hands thing. Oh my God, my Twitter timeline blowing up for 48 hours. Everyone tagging me.
Then what do we call ourselves? Octagon. What do we call it? What do we call it?
Well, there was the circle of what was it? The sphere of shame.
Yeah, something.
The sphere of shame. We had a lot last week. That was actually pretty good last Wednesday. A lot of good shape related. And the chat room is the best. And let me just say this, Matt. I'm going to toss this out there. I'm publicly just putting this out there. I didn't ask my co-hosts about this off the air. If for some reason, not if, in the likelihood of Mania being canceled and us not doing our meetup Friday, we're going to do something for the fans. I'm just going to call it now, Matt. Maybe we'll do a series of some podcasts that aren't even about wrestling. Maybe we'll do some live Q&A stuff. Like, we should do something a little extra to take care of postponing that meetup we're going to have in Tampa.
We have a fundraiser that we're doing here.
Yeah.
No children will be at it. It's for Seminole County leadership class I'm a part of. And it's only going to be like 100 people that will be invited to this thing.
Yeah.
And it's a wrestling event that I'm going to be wrestling.
Oh, wow.
So I was wondering if maybe I could stream live or something. I don't know. We got to think of something for these fans.
Yeah, we got to do some stuff. I was thinking about today, and I was like, we got to put out some bonus episodes, do some stuff with the chat.
And Glenn, will you agree, even though we've not checked on this with the show's proprietors, you would say, owner and proprietor, that no matter what happens, Mania will eventually take place. And Absolutely. When it does, we will definitely still do our thing out there.
If I'm alive and kicking, I'll be there.
We will be. Don't ever say that. Could you say that?
As long as it's not the weekend man going to Aruba, I'll be there.
I said this to you guys off the air. Part of the reason I'm a little more freaked out about this is that half the people that have died have high blood pressure. I'm sure from looking at me, you can tell I have high blood pressure and hypertension. Like it's like I want to.
And plus one other thing, but we're good.
Yeah. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it through this. But yes, we'll absolutely do something there. Well, I thought you were gonna sound something else. I'm gonna put us. Well, did you say you're doing a charity fundraiser for?
But I'm wrestling. I'm having a wrestling event at it. As
nice.
Entertainment.
What's the charity?
It's called the Ties That Bind. It's a challenge course here in Seminole County at Castleberry, a few cities from us, and it's a team bonding challenge course. But like a lot of our kids that are in juvie go to this and learn how to work as a team. You're only as strong as your weakest link, meaning you got to go through these crazy challenges, these obstacle courses that, like, if you fall from like 50 feet up in the air and you die. Like, you can't risk these, not coming across as a team.
Yeah.
So it's really impressive how it's all set up. It's hard to explain. We also have, I also want to be able to make it inclusive for special needs kids as well. And we're going to add on to this challenge course with this fundraiser, along with, clean it up and make it nicer. And it's been around for a long time, this challenge course, and it's very, very famous here. Cops use it, firefighters use it, professional baseball teams use it. They have good managers and are smart and understand how smart it is to get your team to work as one single functioning unit. Anyways, so that's what the obstacles, that's what this fundraiser is for.
And how much are you looking to raise?
I don't think there's a set number. I got to check it again. I don't believe there's a set number. It's part of my leadership Seminole class that I'm a part of, Seminole County. I'm like one of 50 people in this.
Can they take donations online?
Yeah, I can send everybody the link.
Yeah, post it on Twitter. I'm going to make a nice donation to that. And I was going to say, speaking of the proprietors of this, let's make some announcements to put Raj on the hook. Mm-hmm. We're going to live stream. If we can live stream that, we'll do that. And we'll do the super chat donations on YouTube on Wrestling Inc. All that money will go to your fundraiser.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I mean, let's rally the community behind this and help raise some money. It sounds like a very worthwhile cause.
Maybe I'll do color commentator.
And they can see my old butt come out of retirement one more time.
I think the fans, Matt, I have a feeling we could raise quite a bit of money doing that. And with the super, could you imagine if when you were on WWE TV, if fans could have thrown dollars through the internet at you, how amazing that would be?
We'd all be hooking up Ricochet. We'd be hooking up all of our guys that we don't want to see buried.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, that definitely sounds worthwhile, and let's definitely see about live streaming that. But please do tweet the donation link. Happy to support it. Chris Patterson with the super chat saying, if AEW brings in a secondary title, who gets it?
Jeez. That's a tough question. Is it Cody? Doesn't need it.
Sammy Guevara.
Ooh. Okay. I like that pick. I got nobody better. I was gonna say, we just said him earlier. Guy who did a great pre-tape.
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin chases him maybe for it and then wins.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Soundshop Vlogs with the $5 super chat saying, we work in the event industry. Our calendar is being demolished until May. It's scary as our livelihood. Soundshop Vlogs, you didn't have to give us $5 to say that. Save your money.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can refund this. I'll see if I can find a way.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Raj is taking it and running it to Ryback right now. You ain't seeing that $5 again.
The Miguel with $2 saying, did you see Angel Garza's coronavirus tweet? It was just one of those, it's all in the mind. Look, I don't know. I understand. People are skeptical. People are dismissive. People have a sense of humor. Whatever.
Yeah.
I won't give you my uncensored thoughts about that. I will save that for off the air. Anyhow, back to AEW. So Best Friends and Orange Cassidy came out, cleared Death Triangle from the ring.
I don't know about that. I don't buy them clearing that ring.
Yeah.
Not with those three.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Not with if I have money to put on somebody, it's Lucha Brothers and Pac.
What about Dustin Rhodes' promo in ring gear saying he's pissed off, tired of the inner circle, and he tells Hangman Page he's his partner tonight and they're fixing to do some cowboy shit?
Man, he's trying to get his tagline over, but dude, it's already over. He don't need the help.
Yeah, this whole night leading to this main event kind of felt like a bit of an AEW troll job because no, I'm serious. Because all right, so Hardy puts out his final thing today with the Bucks, the final video with the
Young Bucks. Don't tell me, I didn't see it yet. Don't tell me.
I won't tell you, but he puts that out, and then so when they kick off AEW tonight with the opening thing, a pre-tape saying Hangman's got to have a mystery partner. I saw social blowing up, and I can see why. And then they put it in the main event spot. So it's okay, so they're building, and then you've already seen who's Jake's guy. So they just start crossing things off, and then you get to Dustin going, "I'm gonna be the partner tonight." all right, like it kind of felt like they tried to hook you for a reason, and then like, I mean, no disrespect to Dustin, but like that's when you think mystery partner, normally that usually signals like something new, something
company.
Yeah, so
I think that's
felt
our
like a little
hope
bit
as super duper wrestling fans. Do you know what I mean? But like, there has been millions of times that the mystery partner has been revealed to a return hardcore Holly or
sure. No. It just, I think, and you're right, and they can get away with it because of that, Matt. You're exactly right. I just think that they knew the situation, and they kind of felt like they could get 2 hours of suspense out of a mystery partner.
So
I don't know.
That they should have. So do you think then they shouldn't have had the Dustin promo and just continue to go through the rest of the night until it happened? Or
I mean, I don't know if that would have been. I don't know if it would have been any better. Like, who's a mystery partner, and then all of a sudden Dustin's music hits. I don't know if that would have been any better. Maybe it's better that Dustin did cut a promo to justify why he is. I'm just saying it was just kind of well timed, cleverly done by AEW to kind of like take advantage of the situation.
I felt they did it when they saw what happened, and they don't want Dustin, who's always getting pops, deservedly so, for the first time get not as big of a pop and not big as babyface
disappointed. Yeah, disappointed pop. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah,
I mean, we saw it happen to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
I love Rey Mysterio, and it happened that 1 year because it wasn't Daniel Bryan in the Rumble.
Is that a new term? Did we coin the term disappointment pop?
Disappointment pop.
Yes.
I was pot committed to the disappointment pop.
And why isn't Blue Chew a sponsor this week? Avoid the disappointment pop. I'm going to write that down.
Blue Chew will not allow you to have a disappointment pop with your lady.
Disappointment pop.
No, with your lady is disappointment heat.
Disappointment heat. I like that too.
The next day, dude.
Good. I'm just going to include you. I'm just going to like brainstorm with you guys before I go into my next Blue Chew marketing meeting.
Can Matt and I do the next commercials?
Yes. Well, we actually have a new sponsor starting next week that you guys are going to be involved in, and we'll tease it. But Matt, product is en route to you. It should be there tomorrow or Friday.
Hell yeah. Love this stuff. Can't wait to talk about it when we get the chance.
It's going to be great. So, the rules were announced for the AEW Blood and Guts match. 2 men enter the cage for one 5-minute round. Then every 2 minutes, another participant enters. The match officially begins after all 10 have entered the cage. The winning team is determined by making any opponent submit or surrender. No pinfalls, no countouts, or by escaping the cage. So there you go.
God, nobody's rushing to talk about this, huh?
I don't like complex. I mean, I don't know why this seems so complex. But I don't know.
It's just war games, isn't it?
I guess. You know what I don't like about these matches is the match doesn't really get going until everyone's in the cage. So it just feels like filler. That was the same problem with the last war games. You know? Anyhow. So Jim Ross had a one-on-one interview with Moxley. Moxley not medically cleared after last week's show. He says he's not feeling 100%. Didn't go into specifics. Ross says the 1-5 odds are tough for Moxley. Moxley says he means what he said and calls out Hager after the power bomb. Ross asked him what his plan was for Newark, and Moxley says he wouldn't miss that show for the world. Says the inner focus or the inner circle is focused on the elite, but Moxley is their blind spot. What'd you think of this promo, Matt?
I like that. I like the wording of that. Actually, that sounds corny, but I like that. That is their one blind spot. I like that. I thought he did well. I thought he did very well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you put these two people. You put Jim Ross in a pre-tape situation, do a sit-down interview. You know, Moxley. Moxley's not a bad talker live by any means. He feeds off the crowd, but I think especially, and we even saw this back in the days of the Shield, the early days of the Shield, when you can, when you have infinite takes and you have that soundbite you want to get him out to say, and he can deliver it, and the show.
When you put him in those, but with the best part, my 2 cents is when you put Moxley or even Dean Ambrose in those closed, structured setting segments like that, right, where it's a sit-down interview, let's say, right? I've seen him out there like doing PR for the company. The dude doesn't sit still. Like, he is his gimmick. I think it's awesome to watch because it makes me believe he is crazy. It makes me think that, like, he at any second, if he gets annoyed with this interviewer's questions, he's going to get up and shove the mic down the dude's throat. Matt, like, I believe that about this guy.
I know, I do too. If a true story, this is probably 2014 maybe. I did a media interview with him. I was on the phone for the radio, so that made it hard. You're on the phone, so you can't see and you can't like feel the person's like cadence of speech.
Right.
And And it was a fun interview, but it was also tough because he had no rhythm to his speech. At one point, I muted my mic, turned to my producer, and said, "Is he drunk?" Like I didn't know, like because
whole podcast, like yes,
yeah, he felt like he truly was this crazy guy.
Chaotic, unbelievable.
It was fun. I mean, it kept me on my toes. You get other wrestlers who are they're their characters, and they'll like slip into their characters in the interviews, and they'll do some sound bites as their characters, but they'll actually drop in and be a little bit more themselves. But he did not. He was the lunatic fringe Dean Ambrose the whole time.
Moxley very much seems like a guy, if he's not into something, it just...
Oh, it is obvious.
Yeah.
It is obvious when he's not into something.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So the main event tonight, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara with Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager versus Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes. Jericho mocking Page with the beer, prancing around, "I'm a cowboy."
That was funny.
Yeah, I think Page pinned Guevara for the win on this tonight. It's interesting. Yeah, I was actually surprised by that. I kind of thought Jericho and Guevara might get the win.
Yeah, for sure. Odds were stacked against them. This was good babyface from underneath type booking, I thought. You had them in the inner circle out there versus just two, and they're doing a good job with Hangman Page, I think. I really do.
And then after the match, there was the brawl between the inner circle and whoever was left from the elite. We had Omega run out, Cody, Matt Jackson showed up, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. But
they got to get the Bucks squared away with the booking here.
Yeah.
They need just to be on top. I'm not just plugging them for the hell of it. I'm just being honest. They need to be the top of that damn mountain, this tag team. And I don't know why they're not. I
just felt like a repetitive ending after last week.
It's super repetitive. It was a carbon copy.
This is what happened to a small roster, but it's growing, and the show will continue to grow. The good news is we're getting a lot of chapters here. We're getting a lot of pages within certain chapters here that in the long run, I believe, will pay dividends. What did I say earlier, right? That I get annoyed with. Sometimes they put the women wrestlers they have on the roster that we've not seen in God knows how long, and they randomly put them out there in cold matches. And I'm like, well, I don't care about either of these two talents because I haven't seen them in God knows how long. Or you not spend enough time on them when they were on TV, so I know anything about them to make me care one way or the other. So that women's tag tonight I thought was good, and it's a good sign. And they need just to continue that. So sometimes there'll be things that look repetitive. That are repetitive. But with certain talents, I think it needs to happen. I wish they did the same repetitive stuff with their top women's wrestlers, though. I do.
No, I think they got to keep it feeling fresh. I mean, this is Chat's pointing it out. Like we get on the WWE about this all the time, the repetitiveness of it.
We do. We do.
So rumors going around right now that we're trying to confirm to talk about SmackDown Friday being reported by one outlet, but we'll see if we can get confirmation on that before talking about it on the air.
Yeah, I'm getting the same thing right now.
What? It's canceled?
Not canceled.
Just give me a second.
Yeah. Justin will probably be able to confirm this, but there was a rumor, or I guess reported by one outlet, that it's going to be from the Performance Center this Friday, not from Detroit.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if this is, does this force AEW's hand? Does AEW need to get off the road and not be in arenas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is public health, public safety.
Doing this, I mean,
3 weeks of drastic action can prevent. Yeah, I think now's the time to be responsible. You think the AEW, or do you think the NBA wanted to suspend its season? I mean, do you think President Trump wanted to have to go out and give that address tonight? I think people much smarter and more informed than us look at this and go, "Holy shit, we got to nip this in the bud." I think this is time to defer and err on the side of caution.
I mean, hell, I got to think then SmackDown, or I got to think that Raw would be taken away from Raw this month, or from Pittsburgh this Monday. Then, based on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
we will make it through this. These are minor inconveniences.
Let me ask you a quick question
please.
about this. I apologize to the fans, but there's a quick question that's on my mind the whole time we're shooting this. If I should be pulling my kid out of school, he's 6.
So my understanding,
not being.
A lot of schools are being shut down, but my understanding is kids can carry it, but they actually aren't as affected because they're younger and have.
But they can carry it and give it to us.
It's the elderly people that are the most at risk.
Elderly people with diabetes, high blood pressure.
Which in Florida is scary with the number of elderly people.
But he can technically give it to me, though, and my wife, if he gets to school.
Technically, it's possible. But many schools are shutting down for this reason. Again, I think it's just let's take drastic measures now.
Dude, University of Florida, I heard it right before my commission meeting today. They shut down completely. Everything's going to be online.
This is unprecedented in our lifetimes. I mean, even after 9/11, I think we were fucking shell-shocked after 9/11 as to, hey, what in the hell just happened on American soil? But it wasn't like this, Man.
All right, sorry.
No, and that's the thing. And I apologize to everyone tonight about this. It's like, this is on everybody's mind. This is, if you're in the audience and this isn't on your mind, you haven't read anything or watched the news or talked to anyone in the last couple of weeks. This is a big deal. And I think we just have to be really,
it's one thing for us. And I know we've tried to do this in the past. It's one thing if it's an election year and there's a ton of political debate and political discourse on social for us to not touch on that and try to focus on pro wrestling and what makes us happy with that. But this is a world issue that ties into wrestling and ties into everything. So we can't avoid talking about it. It's just
we just were trying to, and you just guys got reports about potentially something happened with SmackDown.
Yeah. Again, slow the spread, man. I made the comparison today. Disneyland has rides with 3-hour wait times, or you get a fast pass and go on later. So if coronavirus spreads too fast, critical care is in limited supply. Hospitals won't have the capacity. That's why we have to try and slow this down at every reasonable measure we can right now. So let's talk about NXT, which was from the Performance Center tonight.
Which, by the way, looked pretty good.
It looked, except when they showed the ceiling.
Well, you can't.
That stuck out to you?
Well, it did because, okay, what I mean by it is, three of the. I'm sorry.
No, good.
Damn ceiling, I hate it.
No, 3 of the 4 camera angles looked like this is Full Sail. This looks as good as Full Sail. And then they would do that low angle shooting up high. And then all of a sudden it reminded me of watching indie wrestling on public access.
See, I popped because that low angle.
Yeah.
There's a giant metal fan. And if you've ever been to the Performance Center, it says on the fan, big ass fan. So every time I see it, I pop. I'm like, that's the big ass fan.
Yes, that's the name of the company.
I know, big ass fan.
It's crazy. It's a pretty creative name.
Well, Matt, you've been there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I popped when I saw that, but I don't know. I thought they did, for all things considered, I thought they did a really good job actually making it.
By the way, the Performance Center is so impressive looking.
It is.
Yes, I'm a ceiling aficionado. 13 Anarchy. Big ceiling fan.
The jokes are for days, guys. Good ones. That's if he's a ceiling fan.
Yes. Anyhow, tonight from the Performance Center, we opened with quite a lengthy video package showing the highlights from last week's show. And we started with the North American title match, Cameron Grimes versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee retaining after a little bit of back and forth. It was a competitive match, but did we really think Grimes was going to win tonight?
No, hell no. Lord, no, hell no.
The bigger story is what happened after the match.
Yeah, Damian Priest came out, and then Dominic Dijakovic came out, ran down and chased off Priest. Priest taunted Dijakovic.
But Keith thought that it was Keith didn't know that it was Priest, not Dijakovic, who attacked him, and then he ends up powerbombing Dijakovic. Dijakovic tried to come to his aid and try to stick up for him. So that's the next level of the story now.
No, they need to be careful because Keith Lee is an amazing baby face. They need to be careful here because you've seen in the past how this could turn out the way that they do not want it to turn out. They want to create some infighting between the two for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they. I'm sorry. These fans are hilarious. Those listening to the show right now, they got lots of fan jokes for Glenn tonight. They asked if Glenn's hit the ceiling. Anyways, you've seen it backfire, though, is my point, with a predominant baby face that the fans were really feeling, and then they put that wrinkle in their storyline where they have them, get confused throughout some scuttlebutt that happens. Yeah, I said the word scuttlebutt, or a schmaz.
Scuttlebutt.
Tomfoolery. Yes, I said tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. It's a Donnybrook at the end here, Matt Morgan.
Again, I threw that in there too. That happened, and then through it all, he actually blames it on the other baby face, and then they take it out on the other baby face. But I've seen it backfire before, so I hope they don't do that with this guy. This guy is perfect. Just leave him alone. And it's Dijakovic. How you say it, Dijakovic?
Dijakovic.
What's his first name again?
Dominic.
I was gonna say Dominic. All right. If you
call him Double D.
Double D. All right. So we've seen them work already. So what's the outcome of that going to be? They're going to have to settle their differences now to prove that he really didn't do it to him. And I'm going to take it on. We don't need that. I was hoping it'd lead to a tag match where I think there'll be more miscommunication between the two, which they don't need. We've seen them feud with each other.
The one thing I'll say, though, Keith Lee is impressive in the ring. Dijakovic is impressive in the ring. Priest is impressive in the ring. Out of the three of them, I think Keith Lee is the least convincing on the mic. I think Damian Priest and Dijakovic know who they are voice-wise, and they know their character. Keith,
figuring it out.
Yeah,
still figuring it out. He talks very differently. I can't believe I'm saying this about any human being, but he's almost too succinct when he speaks. He overly enunciates.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. In real life, that's really a good thing. And for whatever reason, that's just how his style is. So I think the more we hear from him, people will just see that, and he'll add wrinkles to his promos as he learns more. This guy's essentially brand new to WWE. He's been wrestling for years on the indies. I get that, but the WWE way of doing things is very different. And I think he's a monster. I think he's a beast. And I think that dude is a surefire frigging main eventer for them for years to come. Just a few years to come. I know he's older.
Sorry. So it looks like multiple outlets are now confirming the Performance Center is happening for SmackDown. And now the rumor is other events. So there you have it.
On WWE.
Yes. Zook Enigma with the super chat saying, was it announced at the Performance Center tonight before COVID-19 coronavirus? No, actually tonight happened to the Performance Center because Full Sail had a conflict.
Yes. Yeah, that's why.
And they did a very good job of dressing it up. I was very skeptical about how this was going to look, but it looked really good tonight. And I think, SmackDown at the Performance Center, I don't know. I mean, again, I think that's kind of cool. I think the idea that they could do something different.
It is. We'll take different and forget the wrestling part.
Well,
of it.
here's a question though to what Glenn just said.
Yeah,
because Triple H had told us that back in February. They did tonight's NXT at the Performance Center because Full Sail had a commitment, so they let a limited amount of fans, buy tickets to be tonight. Does this SmackDown at the Performance Center and any event forward, do they let fans come in, or what do you do there?
Take people's temperature outside, but you can still carry even if you're not showing symptoms.
Yeah, do you let because if you're letting fans in, it almost defeats the purpose of why you're not going to the arenas anyways.
I was just gonna say, I thought you were going in a different direction, Justin. Triple H announced it before because Triple H knew about this because it's a conspiracy and the Trump administration and Vince McMahon and the Illuminati.
Stop it! Don't.
Fuck it. No, I have to let off some steam here. I have to I'm so tightly wound with this shit.
But answer my question: should they allow? Does it defeat the purpose they allow any fan in?
Do not allow fans in and pre-tape the show. Why does it even have to be live? The biggest challenge they have is having to do a live. They can't do a live show with the audience because results are going to leak out, so they can tape it.
I don't know what the commitment is to Fox. I don't know if there's a thing that says, hey, you have to be live. So that's the first thing. Secondly, if you don't have an audience there, again, I go back to this. Pro wrestling is built off sound and energy. If you don't have a crowd there, unless they're putting family and friends and crew as plants as a crowd to make manufactured noise, which will be louder than ever, there's the little applause sign that says applause now. I mean, what? How do you put on a wrestling show with no sound, with no crowd?
I don't know. I mean, but again, people could get inventive with
are we So now, if we don't have a Mania for Raw this Monday, if they move it to the Performance Center, do you not need an Undertaker versus AJ Styles contract signing? And you're not going to do that at the Performance Center. Like, so many questions.
No, here's what you do. You go online and you say, send us in your videos. We want to see what's the best reactions. And then they've got like little webcam style, like postage stamp reaction shots of fans in the bottom corner of the screen, just like freaking out. Or just find a few fans that are healthy. They're saying that what is it? Like some stuff will be limited to friends and family. What if every wrestler gets one fan in the audience who goes through the screening process? It's like TSA pre-check. They stay in quarantine so we know they're healthy, and all they are there to do at every WWE event is support their favorite wrestler.
Well, true story. I do think the NCAA tournament with March Madness, I know they're not letting fans, but I think they are letting select close family members to the players still come. So maybe.
I don't know. We get Brock Lesnar guy for Brock Lesnar. There's one.
Yeah.
We just need a select group of people, and I think
I'm healthy. I'll fly down.
Who would you be there? Who would you be the sole fan for if you had to show up for someone? The cheering section.
Oh, I'll be there for any of them. I'll put on different hats so I can cover more ground. I can cheer for several.
And what if you get there and they're like, "We're sorry, Justin. All we have left is Baron Corbin."
I'm a big Baron Corbin supporter.
I know.
Although he tweeted me today.
Oh,
this is kind of news actually. I had tweeted about this kind of jumps ahead. Rob Gronkowski is part of our news item, and I tweeted, Rob Gronkowski on his way to WWE. Maybe a first good storyline feud is Baron Corbin, because Corbin's also a former NFL player and Corbin gets good heat, so might work on keeping Gronk over the crowd. And Baron Corbin replied to that tweet and just said pass. So he's not a favor of such.
I love Baron Corbin, but that's the thing. How do you show up and be a fan of a heel? Like that would ruin the dynamic.
No, you show up and you boo the heel. You do what they want.
Oh, so you're like, that's how you're the fan, is you show up for the fan. And
yes, you play along.
Okay. Gotcha.
Are we just going to keep going with NXT, or are we waiting for Matt to come back?
I don't know what Matt's got going on.
We're off the rails.
Cole going with the super chat saying, just bring in Jim Cornette. Just Jim Cornette. Actually, yeah, okay. I've got the idea right now. And oh my God, they could stream this on the network and make money. They could break out the stops. All they have to do is give us an in-corner camera and a live audio feed of Vince in gorilla position for the entire episode.
Yes.
Because he's the only audience that truly matters.
I am fascinated with what is going through Vince's mind. Because again, as we mentioned before, he's a germaphobe, but at the same time, having anybody else tell him what he can and cannot do with his company, especially his baby that is WrestleMania, I'm just baffled by what the emotions of what he's tearing with, and not that there's never a good time to have WrestleMania postponed or canceled. There's never a good time. But I would have to say, while there's if you look at it, while there's never a good time to have WrestleMania postponed or canceled, this might be one of the worst times when dealing with the instability he's dealing with from the corporate structure and the stock and the questions and all the word that he put out there that he wants to sell WrestleMania off to another platform, and then it gets postponed or canceled. Again, there's no good time to have WrestleMania canceled or postponed, but this is the worst possible time.
You've seen the speculation. There was no truth to this whatsoever, no confirmation, but people are speculating. What if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia steps in and says, hey, you want to do Mania over here? We're good.
Are they good? I'm asking seriously. Are they okay?
I don't know. I'll look at right now at the CDC site. This is, wrestling fans love to speculate, and this was all over Twitter today. I could tell you that it is less, looking at the CDC numbers I'm looking at now. Let me refresh that. But I guess it would be possible, but I don't know anything about the measures they're taking. I'm just sort of reporting the.
And here's the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Does whoever hosts it, because they have lower numbers of this virus, right? Yeah. Do they want a bunch of people coming in from all over the United States that are around it?
You would have. Have we heard stories about fans from the U.S. or Europe traveling to the Greatest Royal Rumble or Crown Jewel? I get
Mania is that big.
Yeah.
No, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
John Nelson put up plexiglass in front of the fans like hockey.
If I'll be honest, if they move
the fans amongst each other to that questioner who wrote that, it's not the wrestlers were worried about getting affected or wrestlers affecting everybody.
Well,
it's each other because there's more of them. There's more
and
of
then
fans.
and then they infect people, and it's like it's freaking scary. I had this thought today. Aren't you guys glad you're married? Could you imagine being single right now? Dating was crappy enough with
Why?
I mean, think about Matt, you and I are the same age. We grew up in the age of STD fear and all this panic, but now this is like a whole other level. It's like just a coffee date with someone could be potentially an issue.
For the next few months or whatnot. Yeah. Okay,
so Raj just texted me confirming a SmackDown the Performance Center. Thanks, Raj.
Read the rest of the text.
No,
you start talking about wrestling again.
Raj doesn't listen. Wait, we proved that Raj does not listen to this podcast at all.
We have proven this, but he just wrote you the confirmation on SmackDown because he saw that we were talking about it. I bet.
No, he said not sure if you've talked about this already or
not.
There is the tell.
Wow, Raj, I'm begging you, watch your own product.
That's where I thought you wrote somewhere earlier where you're saying you were going to commit the owner of this podcast to some things. I was like, oh, we can commit the owner of this podcast to a lot of things publicly.
Yes.
Eddie Omang's with the super chat saying, "Will you guys still do the podcast live?" Look, as long as we're healthy. Hey, I'm quarantined. I'm not leaving the house for the foreseeable future. We're going to still do this podcast as long as we can.
For sanity.
Yeah. And like I said, we're going to do some bonus stuff. Man, especially, God, can you imagine if we have to self-quarantine? We're going to have some free time.
That Limp Bizkit podcast is waiting.
Oh, yeah. Colt Cohen saying, so I have to pick whether we hate coronavirus or Saudi Arabia more. I wouldn't say hate.
Our fans are hilarious.
13 Anarchy saying Raj is too busy watching the big guy. When do you go on Ryback's podcast? Yes, Matt, when is that happening?
Can I celebrate these Ryback comments about Raj? Tomorrow. Oh crap! Tomorrow. Tomorrow. I think it's 6:30.
I'm listening, Raj.
Why aren't you watching? Is the question, Raj. No, you're not. One of your stooges probably tweeted you or something, or direct messaged you, slipped into your DMs. Ryback slipped into your DM and told you.
Don't you guys feel like when we do this podcast and Raj is not watching, it's like doing a SmackDown TV and Vince isn't at the building? It's like trying to get away with stuff.
Absolutely.
Right, that was all good fun.
Okay, women's ladder match. This was unexpected and cool. Mia Yim versus Dakota Kai. I felt certain Dakota Kai was going to win this.
Hang on, time out. You guys didn't finish?
No.
He waited for you. He made me stall. He waited for you.
We didn't stall. People want your insight. Matt, Mia Yim is going to the ladder match at TakeOver. Number one contender.
Excited as hell for her, man. This was awesome, though. Did you guys not like it?
I thought it was interesting after Kai winning the steel cage match, but maybe that's the thing. Kai can do something. Kai's got other stuff going on that she can do storyline wise.
Yes, definitely. She's a friggin' dude. I love Kai, by the way. Every one of them, I feel like I say that about.
Yeah, because they're all freaking great.
Changes. I'm like, oh, this is my favorite. No, this is my favorite. No, this is my favorite. They're all good. They're all damn, and their storylines are good. That's the part of this. These aren't just badass wrestlers that are just awesome in the ring, right? They are, but it's also their storylines are better. Yeah, they just are. Their characters are all very well defined. I don't get why they can't spread this amongst their entire roster on Raw and SmackDown.
I don't know.
Think about every female wrestler on NXT. It's not just a coincidence.
Yeah, they're
all got layered storylines for the most part. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just the fact, oh, they're women's wrestlers, therefore we're just putting them out. It's their characters, yes, are all very distinct and very different, but their storylines, they have layers to them. We don't have that with anything else.
I have a theory, Justin. Road Dogg is heavily involved in NXT now, right? Since he stopped doing SmackDown,
I believe
half a year ago.
Yeah.
So Road Dogg, remember when SmackDown, when the brand split happened, how Road Dogg, SmackDown had like the SmackDown 6 of the women, like they did so much with them, individual characters, they built them. I think it's kind of weird to say if you think back to 20 years ago, but I think Road Dogg might have a good eye and whoever's working with him has a good eye for how to build a women's division.
It feels that way, right?
Yeah.
It totally does, man. That's why I was so shocked that like they stepped away from him on SmackDown. I'm like, you guys out of your freaking mind?
Well, I think he was burnt out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, like he's why SmackDown I felt was good.
Yeah,
like when fans would get on, I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah,
the alternative was worse.
Yeah, I don't think the SmackDown nor the Raw environment after doing it for a couple of years was just conducive to to sanity.
Well, and not conducive to sanity either.
I mean, yes, Road Dogg sanity, not sanity the group either.
Kushida versus Raul Mendoza.
Me?
Yeah, I know. I want to have something to say about this.
I got nothing. I'm sorry, I gotta be honest. I didn't dig this, didn't care about it.
Okay.
I was watching the news. I'm just gonna be
I know. So let's talk about the Tyler Breeze promo interrupted by Austin Theory setting up something perhaps with these two. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes, this was. And it's going to be a really good match. We know that. I'm still not there with Austin Theory yet. And I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm trying to get into this kid and really dig him, right? Because I know so many others do. You know, he came with a following when he got signed here. So I keep trying to wait. And Justin, you as well, I know you are. Just trying to see what the big deal is with this kid. And hoping that I get to see it. But just good job tonight. I'm just way more into Prince Pretty.
Yeah. Same thing. I've said it for weeks on end, so I won't go any longer. Just waiting to get it, figure out what's the hook about him.
Okay, so let's talk about Rhea and Charlotte Flair this face-off tonight. Charlotte showing up again in Full Sail, them facing off, brawling around the ring. Rhea did not look strong in this, which makes me think maybe she's going to win this match. I mean, she's got to win this match, right?
Well,
Charlotte's not going to be the NXT Women's Champion.
When's the match going to be at this point? We don't know that.
I mean, they're going to probably do. I mean, they're going to.
WrestleMania from the Performance Center.
Oh, that's true. They'll move back to TakeOver. If WrestleMania is postponed, it'll move back to TakeOver.
How are you going to do a TakeOver?
No, they'll do TakeOver, but they won't do it with. They either won't do it with an audience or they'll do something like they're not gonna. You think they're not gonna do any programming? And they could move it to free TV if they decide, hey, you know what? I don't know. But this match can't wait till July.
I think I can't believe that. What was that, Matt?
None of these feuds and matches can. None of them can sustain that. Just an off period of 3 months. You kidding me?
I can't believe I'm saying this. Well, actually, I can't. And I've always thought WWE would benefit after Mania is done of having like a 2-month off season. Like Mania is done, you're off April, May, you kick back in June or July.
Reset of a season, if you will. Yes.
So I almost wonder if WWE is not of the benefits. I know, again, I can only imagine, and Matt knows Vince. I don't. Just suspend programming, just like the NBA and inevitably the NHL probably will, and MLB will have to push back and try to pick this back up in the summertime, as we were talking about off camera, when summer picks up, higher temperatures, maybe this stuff passes the initial effect. You can't draw out Undertaker versus AJ Styles for 2 more months to wait to that match. You can't fill every week. You can't you either have to do a subpar Mania, and I say subpar, I just mean in the environment, the Performance Center, or you need to just suspend programming. But I don't know what I don't know how that affects the deals with Fox and USA, their TV commitments. I don't know what that means. Yeah. Do they need to run old programming? I don't know what that means.
No, and from the ratings, I'm sorry, Matt.
I don't know what they're going to do either, guys. I really
this is unprecedented.
But the biggest danger for WWE is when fans get out of the habit of watching WWE.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That brand is so damn big, right? You know, it's such a monster right now that they're bigger. In my opinion, I'm being dead serious. It would do the company good to take the time off. I really believe that.
I agree. Some absence could make the wrestling mark's heart grow fonder. For the first time, WWE in over whatever many years, how many decades, having an off season, even if it's not on purpose.
Hang on really quick, before I forget to say this, I'm sorry. But AEW I could see, Vince going, well, we're just going to let you saw what happened back in the 90s. And when we were running tape shows, our competitor went and started putting live shows out there and giving away all of our spoilers and yada, yada, yada. We could fall asleep at the wheel with this new up and coming company, even though he sells AEW. Still, for him to take 3 months off TV while AEW continues to film, I think will play a part of that.
Well, AEW would have to stop filming too. They would have to take the public consciousness thing. So if they stop, but then it's also a case of like what that's going to do to WWE's revenue, and then I mean I think all investors in business across the world know all investor meetings moving forward is going to be very weird reporting because of what's happening to the economy because of the virus. But if AEW is willing to stop and suspend, I think it would be possible for WWE to do it.
I'm telling you, from a logistical point of view, I think they're going to pre-tape a bunch of stuff and then send people home, because the problem is you can't have people off during the week. You can't have wrestlers go home, spend time with their families in their communities, travel back for WWE, and risk everyone.
That's why I think you just stop altogether and just wait. And it's a trickle down. It's a trick, not to get selfish. It's a trickle down. What does that mean for Wrestling Inc.? What does that mean? Like, if there's nothing new, if there's no new backstage developments, there's no new storyline happening, and contract signings, like, it really does. It's a trickle down. Like, what happens?
What are we going to talk about in this podcast? We're going to show up every week and just talk about the WWE Studios films.
I don't know. I mean, I know we're getting a little off, but this, I mean, the direction we're headed. The direction we're headed.
No, I know this is the world we're living in. Doesn't it feel like the past couple of days, like this is the weird movie shit?
Walking Dead.
I want to go that far, but I have discussed with the wife.
I was just on my Walgreens trying to pick up non-latex gloves for my son to put this ointment on for this rash that he has, right? And we have to wear gloves when we put on this medicine so we don't burn our hands.
Yeah.
And there's no gloves, alcohol, cotton swabs, Band-Aids, zero in 4 Walgreens I went to. 4.
Yeah.
No gallon jugs, nothing.
Dude, 2 weeks ago we had to start making our own hand sanitizer, which is actually remarkably simple because we couldn't find any. I mean, it's nuts. So Eddie Omering, thank you for the super chat saying, do you think any wrestlers have coronavirus? I mean, I mean, statistically, they travel a lot. I mean, Matt, aren't you glad you're not on the road right now? Wouldn't you feel like you would be a much greater risk to your family and community?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have an IWC wrestling show this Saturday night. I'm waiting to find out, what are we doing? Like, are we still doing this? I just think, like, I'm not going in and shaking everybody's hand like your custom's supposed to do.
No, and just tell people up front. I was in a very important meeting yesterday, and I was just telling everybody up front, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I also don't want to be that guy to go shake your hands, and you really don't want to shake people's hands, and I'm forcing you to do it, so elbow bumps and like foot taps. Somebody showed me a foot high five. I was like, that's corny as hell, but I'm stealing it.
I'm just going to start bowing. I think the Japanese have it right. I think,
there's no contact.
Yeah, it's great. So speaking of travel, Finn Balor's headed to NXT UK to confront Walter.
Why are you laughing at this?
It's an odd time as we're trying to tell everybody not to travel, and we're sending a superstar over to Europe.
In fact, it was what's funny about. I mean, this is why I'm laughing about this. I was watching Trump's address where he was talking about the travel ban on returning from Europe. Literally, as Finn Balor's holding up his passport in the promo, it was so absurd. It was funny moment.
So what are they going to do with that? That's obviously that can't happen.
So hang out in Ireland. What else do they have going on? NXT UK will shoot from the UK, so Finn can hang out. Why does Finn have to come back right now?
Ever?
No, I'm saying right now. Like, I don't know. And again, dude, this is the cool thing, man. Finn could do something with Walter. They could do stuff. They could do stuff on sets. They could do stuff in different environments. I'm saying, think about what you think wrestling has been due to the arena and the live audience. It just opened up so many possibilities. This could end up being a great thing for WWE creative. We bitch every week about the same, repetitive. Now they have constraints that will force them to do something different potentially. And I think that is good for wrestling. Anyhow, Women's ladder match qualifier. Wait, but backstage we did see Raul Mendoza got kidnapped by 2 luchadors.
Yay.
Yeah, they love to use the parking lot of the Performance Center. I've noticed that the parking lot is where a lot of shit happens in NXT.
Yeah, they don't have too much there really to shoot things from to make the aesthetic look different.
That's why they do. That's why they do all the backstage things where the guys have their own flags and banners to try to make each of their like spaces look unique because they don't have a lot of space at Full Sail or the Performance Center to shoot pre-tapes.
You're right.
Women's ladder match qualifier: Tegan Nox versus Deonna Purrazzo, and Tegan Nox getting a win here pretty easily.
Tegan Nox is another one, man. So great, so good. This was good. I dug this.
Yeah. We got the teaser vignettes for superstars. People are speculating one was Killer Cross. People are speculating one Scarlett Bordeaux.
It says, I think in one of the vignettes, it said like TikTok or something like that, which is what Killer Cross's shtick is on social media, TikTok.
That's every wrestler's. Go back to 2010. That was mine. Teasing going to WWE.
Matt Morgan just confirmed it, Raj. Matt Morgan's coming back. 2020. Matt Morgan's
and Caden's correct. The UK isn't banned. It's Europe. Finn Balor from Ireland. I don't know, part of the UK. Who knows?
Here's the question. If you're in Europe, if you're in like Italy or France, it's open borders. If you can get to the United Kingdom, will you be able to fly out of the United Kingdom to the US, or they look at your passport and say, "Oh no, you're not flying"? Like,
I don't know. And
good question. I don't know.
It did seem a little
open border, so you can get anywhere.
Especially, it's not like the UK is like a safe zone right now. I don't know.
Nowhere is.
I know. It's very strange.
Aruba is.
Aruba. Just gonna go to Aruba. I was telling my wife, I was like, we should just go to the mountains.
Oh, my wife is way braver than me with this. She was like,
really?
Yeah, she's like, we need to take advantage of like these cruises. We need to take advantage of these flights. Let's go. I'm like, wow, where did you get all this bravery? Like, because it's usually reversed. Usually, me talking like that, and it's her. No, we need to be, we need to be smart here. What are you doing?
Hey, now if you want to travel and feel really good about your immune system, now is the time to get a deal. But you will have to self-quarantine when you get back. So let's talk about the NXT Tag Team title match, the Undisputed Era versus the Broserweights.
How freaking much longer is this show? Good Lord.
I know. I'm just going to say this. Like, This is the toughest podcast
definitely
we've ever done. And I've had podcasts where I got like shitty personal news before I went on the air, and those were easier than tonight's.
This is rough. This is like the never-ending damn NXT. Sorry, no offense, NXT. There was some good stuff on it, but anyways, Broserweights versus. Go ahead, say it again for everybody, and say who won if you could, if you have it in front of you.
Broserweights versus Undisputed Era. Velveteen Dream came out, was taunting Undisputed Era, said he was using Strong to get to call him the NXT title. So yeah. Dream cut this promo. This is going to happen in whatever form TakeOver happens in. Maybe it happens on TV. Who the F knows? But then we had Dunn and Riddle in this match. It was competitive. Dunn and Riddle won. The Grizzled Young Veterans came down to the apron trying to distract the champions, but Dunn took care of them. And Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne retained their titles.
They're really going with him, that's for sure.
I can't believe they're still champion, or I can't believe they're still together.
Yeah, I would have predicted this, and I crapped all over at the beginning of the Dusty tournament. That is all they do is put singles acts together in a tag team tournament that nobody's going to talk about later on.
Yep,
Granted, we're not going to be talking about that tournament later on. I think we haven't. But this tag team itself, we are, and everyone is, because this worked. Say what you want. The tag team between these two work.
So the final segment of the night, Tommaso Ciampa coming out to the ring, interrupted by Johnny Gargano. Ciampa's cutting a promo. Gargano interrupts him from backstage. Ciampa goes backstage, beats up Gargano. They're like effing things up in the weight room. This was a crazy fight. Went back into the ring, up on that perch, which looked super cool. Yeah, this was an awesome brawl on like the worst night for people to pay attention to it. This was really good though. And yeah.
Still I'm feeling Gargano was a heel.
Yeah, but this fight though was so excessive.
the fight was very excessive, and they've already proven that their fights are very excessive and very real looking. But I still feel the character for Johnny Gargano. I still feel he's playing wrestler, as Vince used to say to me when I first started. He feels like I'm playing wrestler. And I remember going, well, what do you mean? None of us are actually real wrestlers. You know that, right, sir?
Kurt Angle was.
Except for Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, and like, yeah, okay, I get it. But we all are playing some form of a character just dialed all the way up. But sometimes it's really obvious, you know, and Gargano, I just don't buy as a heel.
Well, what hurts too is when you put Gargano side by side with Ciampa. Ciampa looked like the maniac heel. Gargano looks like Gargano looks like the guy you trust to take your daughter to
yes.
You know,
no question. I would totally trust him. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, well, Johnny will have her back. He'll have her back 10 minutes early before curfew.
Letterman's jacket on, football in the arm because he's the running back for high school. And he's learning definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of get what Matt's saying, but it was a good attempt. You know, for a small, intimate crowd there, they did a big spot off the portion of the table. So
yes, they did. Yeah, they worked incredibly hard, and the dynamic between the two is excellent, obviously. And the matches they put on are freaking awesome.
Well, and you can tell they're close friends off screen because you can tell when performers are close friends because there's a certain level of trust that they exhibit on.
Don't
camera.
you feel that hurts the feud sometimes because you don't buy it? I don't buy these two hate each other.
No, you know, I've poo-pooed Sami Zayn, but you know, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they exhibit so much trust that I never get bored watching them fight when they do.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever? That's a different type of entertainment that you're being entertained. You're being entertained by the ring action and the psychology of the match, but there's no way in blue hell are you sitting there going, this guy really hates this
Correct.
guy.
They could never convince me they're going to be in the airports opposed from each other. Yeah, right. Yes.
And there's more to it when you can suspend your disbelief like that.
Yeah. It's not like Brett and Owen in 94 when they purposely made sure they never traveled near each other and stuff like that. Different time.
So weird nights for both NXT and AEW. I mean, was there one there night? They were both fine, right? They're both on good shows, but
yes,
they did not overcome the cloud that we are living under currently.
Nothing can.
Nothing can. I would like to see an episode of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or AEW that could overcome such a thing, but this was an unfortunate.
No, because we all just got like an update tonight, like, you know.
Yeah. Shit got real.
Major update, and it's getting real. Like it's moving so fast. Just talking to you before we went on the air, like all the stuff you were saying.
It is crazy. So, man, WWE can't catch a break because the big headline they wanted everybody talking about is that Gronk is signed with WWE, and that also overshadowed by all of this.
So what does that mean he signed? Is he going to go to the developmental and learn and everything? Or like, what is it? What does that mean?
There's no word on that. All it is that he's going to be a member of the roster, but he's not going to be like every week. It's going to kind of be like a special attraction kind of thing. So there was thought that maybe his first appearance might be at WrestleMania 36, but that probably ain't happening now. So
is he retired?
From football, he is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting. He retired from football at the age he did for fear of head injuries and concussions. Yeah. So and he's going into a genre that's physical in pro wrestling. So
it is, but there's no more of those chair shots to the head that cause 90% of them.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you have it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
You, everyone, for hanging with us.
I can give a cheap Wrestling Inc. plug and say that tomorrow, obviously on Thursday, we will have the news that comes out from Tampa government. And myself and Nick Hausman, we do the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast that'll come out in the afternoon. So whatever comes out tomorrow in the first part of the day and whatever new news, myself and Nick Hausman will have immediate reaction. You can subscribe to the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's a separate sister or separate brother channel to this one. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
There you go. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. You're hearing it all the time. Wash your hands, use some common sense, protect yourself and your loved ones, and let's look out for one another. Until next time, he's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Justin LaBar. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. We'll catch you back here Friday. SmackDown from the Performance Center, talking about Friday night on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.